Hi, I'm Steve. I do research and engineering at NASA. In this Space Ace video, we interview my friend, NASA astronaut Leland Melvin. Leland is the only person drafted into the National Football League who has flown in space, and he's been honored by the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He flew 2 missions on the Space Shuttle Atlantis in 2008 and 2009, spending almost 24 days in space. He's written about his adventures in his book, Chasing Space. Check out his answers to cosmic questions that kids like you are curious about.
What was most memorable about your astronaut experience?
We got invited by the first female commander, Peggy Whitson. Dr. Peggy Whitson invited us over to the Russian segment to have a meal. She said, "You guys bring the rehydrated vegetables, we'll have the meat." So we're breaking bread at 17,500 miles per hour, going around the planet every 90 minutes, breaking bread with people we used to fight against. We had Russians and Germans on this mission. And so there was African-American, Asian-American, French, German, Russian, the first female commander of the space station, breaking bread, having a meal, just like we were on planet Earth. And I would float food to Yuri's mouth, and he would float food to my mouth. And I thought about looking out the window, having this change in the perspective of how we even work and live together as human beings. This was my aha moment. This was the moment where I realized that my perspective had changed cognitively in your brain. It changed the way I wanted to interact with people when I came back home. That's called the overview effect. So all these things are going on: music, food, people we used to fight against, seeing my hometown. And then 5 minutes later, we're flying over Paris, where Leo's hometown is, and Yuri from Russia is looking off to Moscow. We were connected as one family, as one human family. And I think that was the most powerful thing, that was even more powerful than all the technical stuff that we did, because it brought us together as one family, one human family.
What feelings can you remember about looking down at the Earth from space?
I looked back at the planet, I looked out the window, and I saw the most incredible thing: the blue water of the Caribbean. I needed new definitions of blue to describe the colors that I saw. I only had a few colors of blue in my mind. And I needed azure, indigo, turquoise, navy blue, light blue, all these colors blue that I saw, but I saw even more colors. And so it was such a beautiful moment. And then every 90 minutes we went around the planet. Every 45 minutes we saw a sunrise or a sunset. I saw places that I had never been before from space. And it was just tranquil and beautiful. And I will never forget it.
What are some of the challenges of being an African American in your field of work? How did you handle them?
Many times when you're coming to a new field of study or an area where maybe there's not a lot of people that look like you, as me being an African American, sometimes I was the only person. Like in my astronaut class, I was the only person that looked like me. There were 31 of us. And if you look at the picture, I was the only one in that picture that was African American. And I think when you get in a situation like that, where you don't maybe have a lot of people that are going to help you or do things for you, you have to really, go back to finding the people that support you, whether it's your family, your friends, and then find a mentor, find someone in that business, in that group, that will allow you to ask them questions like, how do I get through this problem? How do I do this? And we need more diverse people in any job, in anything that we do, especially in the astronaut corps, because the more diverse people you have, the better solutions you have. You can solve problems better when there are more people that have a different way of thinking. They maybe bring a different cultural thing to the table to solve the problem. Maybe if all the people there are the same color or the same race or the same whatever, they all think exactly the same. So they won't have a way to have a different solution that could solve the problem for that day. When I was a kid, I didn't think about becoming an astronaut. And even when I was an engineer working at NASA, I didn't think of myself as being an astronaut. But now that I see there are people like Charlie Bolden and Mae Jemison and Guy Bluford, and then Jeanette Epps and Victor Glover, who are African Americans going to space, that you see people like you know that you can do it.
You lost your hearing during training as an astronaut, so you couldn't fly. What helped you get through that?
And so when I got injured and lost all my hearing in a training accident in this 5 million gallon pool, I had people in my life that believed in me, that didn't give up on me, that said, you can get through this. And it was a community of people that picked me up, that kept me going. And they said, you're never going to fly in space. And instead of me quitting and being sad and depressed and sad and everything, I just kept going. I just kept trying, just like the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. And I kept going to the point where the flight surgeon, the doctor who has to approve me, he signed me a waiver to fly because I still don't have any hearing in my left ear. And so he believed in me enough, because I didn't give up, because I kept going, that he gave me a chance to do it. So whatever happens to you, if something happens, never give up. Have the grit, have the perseverance to be like the little engine that could. I think I can. I think I can. I will. I did.
Have your experiences in space changed how you think about God or the universe? If so, how?
When I got to space, I looked back at the planet and it was just stunningly beautiful. All the colors, the mountains, the oceans, the volcanoes, all these different things. And then when you turn and you look out to the deep, dark blackness of space, it's like velvet with pinpricks in it, and someone's turning on a really bright light. You see these bright little pinpricks of light. And we think about our solar system, our 8 planets and our sun, but then you think about all of these other stars that are out there. And you think about these other solar systems and galaxies and nebula and black holes and all this stuff. And when you think about our little planet compared to some of the other much bigger planets in our solar system, and then the magnificence and immense size of this thing that you can't even wrap your head around, it makes you think about how you got there. And it makes you think about, a more divine intervention, God, and I was blown away about how beautiful everything was and how things were made in such a way to give you this hope and inspiration of a better place one day. So it made me think more of, not celestial beings, but like the master creator of the entire universe. And it was such an incredible moment. I mean, I almost started crying. I felt like I was going to cry, but I didn't. But it was just such a very peaceful and tranquil moment.
What advice do you have for kids who are interested in STEM?
For any kid growing up, wherever they are, I would tell any kid that's interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics to be curious, because STEM is in everything that we do. Whether making this water bottle, there's metal in here, there's plastic, there's, materials science engineers that help figure out how to make this metal. There are plastics engineers that figure out how to make the plastic. My jacket, that's textile engineering. So there's engineering in every single thing we do. And there's also art in everything we do. Someone had to draw this to be creative. And so I changed STEM to STEAM. And I add the A for the arts because it's important that if you're thinking about building or designing, that you have your creative element to it. Everything that we do on the space station, if you look up here, you see the space station up there, there was an artist that had to draw the first space stations to help engineers envision what it even looked like. So I say STEAM versus STEM because we have to have all parts of the brain working together to solve problems. And find out what you're interested in. Look up at the night sky, turn over a rock, look at the worms under the rock and understand how they are put together, how they're made, how our body is made, how our eyes are made, all the pieces, parts, and stay curious. And once you're curious, you will need science, you will need technology, you will need engineering, and you will need art and mathematics to solve the problems of the questions that you're asking because you're curious.
Thank you for joining us for Space Ace. Until next time, happy exploring.